Okay. The 2022 Minnesota Vikings, as we stand here on December 6th, they are the most disrespected football team in the history of the National Football League. I've never seen anything like this. They are 10-2 against one of the toughest schedules so far in the league. I think it's 8th. I think they're 8th hardest strength of schedule to this point. They're 10-2, running away with the division, one of the best records in the NFL. I mean, they're still the second best record in the NFL. And no matter what they do, they are not being given any credit for anything. They are not being given any credit for wins. Nothing. They are being degraded and disrespected at every single turn, everywhere you look and everywhere you listen. They're even fucking underdogs this week. As of now, I mean, it's a betting line, so it could change. But they are a 10-2 team facing I believe, a 5-8 Lions team on the road, and they are an underdog. Or 5-7, I think Detroit is. And they are an underdog. I don't know if that's ever, we've ever been to this point in the season before and had, that kind of a record disparity and had a team be an underdog. It would never. This is the only team that this could happen with. The Vikings are so disrespected right now. I mean, it's bordering on comical at this point because, like, I'm sorry, what more do they have to do? You can't do a whole lot more in a regular season than what they've done to get respect. And you can argue if respect for the media matters at all. It probably doesn't, but it's really fucking irritating to watch this team go out there, 10 out of 12 weeks so far, win games. Yeah, most of them have been close, but guess what? That used to be a fucking virtue. People used to talk about teams winning close games, showing grit, showing, being good in the fourth quarter. That used to be a sign of a strength. That used to be taken as a virtue. Not with this Vikings team. Every single time they have a close win, doesn't matter if it's against a good team like the Jets or like a poor team like the Bears a while back, whoever it is, it doesn't matter. Vikings win a close game. Oh, we're shit because we played a close game. Doesn't matter who we played. If you play a close game, you're a piece of shit. Only with the Vikings, though. Because what did fuck we see last night? Oh, the media was just coming all over themselves because Tom Brady led a comeback against the mighty Saints. Well, fucking hell, I think we once won a game against the Saints. It wasn't at home. It was on a neutral field, and we got shit on for daring to barely beat the Saints. Well, now another team barely beats the Saints, and it's, oh my God, it's the greatest thing that's ever happened in the history of the NFL. Oh my God. And that's for a team that is, I believe, now 6-6. They got to win over a 4-8 team. Vikings are 10-2, beating teams. We just got through a 5-game stretch where we played nothing but contenders, and we won 4 of those games. And yeah, the 4 wins were all close, and the 1 loss was bad. I'm aware that they lost in blowout fashion, in very, very ugly fashion to the Cowboys. I'm aware that, damn near 3 months ago, they lost to the Eagles. I'm aware that these games happened. But guess what? Other teams have lost games to contenders. Some of these other contenders, they have lost games to bad teams. At least we've only lost 2. We've lost 2 games. They're the 2 of the, maybe the 5 best teams in the NFL. No one degrades like, the Chiefs for losing to the Colts. No one degrades, the 49ers when they lost to Denver. Nobody degrades the Eagles when they lose to Washington. Hell, we won in Washington, and we were shamed for it. Like, how dare you only barely beat Washington in Washington? Well, Washington's proven to be an okay team, and they went into Philly and won, and we beat them. So maybe that was an okay win. Maybe we should get some fucking credit for that. But no, we don't get any credit for that. We only get ridicule and degraded. And I've never seen anything like this. It's completely unprecedented. I mean, every year there's like teams that pop up and are better than expected. And maybe there's a hint of like, well, are they really as good as this? then they're never talked about in the way this Vikings team is talked about. They're at least these other teams at least get credit for the wins that they've done. It'd be like, these teams that pop up. It's like, oh hey, look at them go. Like this is a good story. Well, apparently the Vikings aren't a good story because all they want to talk about is how we're not actually any good, and we're frauds, and we haven't done anything worthy of any praise whatsoever. It's like we have played one of the toughest schedules to this point in the season. I remember coming into the season, I thought this schedule was going to be pretty easy. It's turned out to be very much not easy. The division's been a little easier, but the overall schedule has not been easier. We've got as good of a body of work as any team in football, but there are teams with worse records than the Vikings that never get talked about in the way that the Vikings are getting talked about. No one's calling like, pick a team under us. No one's calling San Francisco a fraud. No one's calling. There are teams like Tampa Bay 6-6. No one's calling them a fraud. Like, why is this Vikings team singled out like no team in the history of the NFL for this kind of disrespect and ridicule? And now we're underdogs against a 5-7 team who we already beat. And yeah, that was a close game too, but we beat them. And maybe we will lose this week. Like, I still don't necessarily think we're going to win out. But I mean, and even some of these previous games, we're barely favored. Like, we're home, so like maybe we're a 3-point favor, which is basically a pick 'em. You always give them just 3 points for the home team. I mean, we're just. I hope the coaching staff and the team. I mean, I'm sure they don't care about this stuff. I shouldn't care about this stuff, but you want bulletin board material? They're going to have to buy some new bulletin boards to put up all the bulletin board material that they're being given by the media and idiot fans who don't fucking know what they're talking about. If I hear one more thing about, the Vikings are going to get exposed in the playoffs. What does what happens in the playoffs have to do with what they have done to this point in the season? They are 10-2 against a very tough schedule. It doesn't matter. That's not the point, is what happens in the playoffs. You can already tell they're setting it up that if the Vikings do anything short of win the Super Bowl, everyone's going to be like, oh, see, they were frauds. I told you they were frauds. Well, only one team wins the fucking Super Bowl. Maybe it won't be the Vikings. I mean, mathematically, the odds of that are very small. But that doesn't mean they're frauds. That doesn't mean they're not a good team. They're a very fucking good team. They have earned so much more respect than they are being given. It is nauseating to see this. And you saw it like when they got blown up by Dallas, and I'm aware that happened. The vultures were just jumping like, see, Vikings aren't any good. Well, then they've responded with a couple more wins over contending teams. And they're going to win some more games and probably end up with at least a 2 seed. And it's not going to matter. They could win the Super Bowl. Honestly, at this point, I'm convinced they could win the Super Bowl and no one will give them any credit. I mean, for God's sakes, they're going to be in a position to do something in the playoffs. They've already got as many wins as the Bengals did last year when the Bengals went to the Super Bowl. Like, stuff can happen in the playoffs. We got our doors blown off by Dallas a few weeks ago. That doesn't mean that it would happen again. We might not even face Dallas in the playoffs. But it's not going to matter. They're just going to get disrespected and degraded. And it's nauseating. Like, give us some fucking respect. This team has earned respect with what they have done. Winning close games is not a character flaw. It shows their character that they've been able to pull these games out. People are like, oh, they're just lucky. No, they're fucking not lucky. Couple things other than the Buffalo game where we got really like the fumble snap was a play that just doesn't happen. Other than that, it hasn't been luck. It's been they're making the plays in the fourth quarter. The other team isn't. Whatever it is, the Vikings are good at doing this year. They haven't been in the past. They are very good this year at making plays in the fourth quarter to win games. And yes, they've been playing close games, whether they're playing non-contenders or contenders. But they're playing, they're doing what they have to do to win games. You play to win the game, and they're doing it, and they're getting no respect whatsoever for doing what you're supposed to do. While teams that are not as good as the Vikings are lauded for doing the same fucking thing. So that's pretty much the end of my rant. I'm flabbergasted at some of this shit. And it won't matter, you know, if we go beat Detroit this week, clinch the division, it ain't gonna matter. You know, everyone's hyping up Detroit so much that they're favored. But now if we go beat Detroit, it'll be, oh, it doesn't matter, it's just Detroit. Vikings, they can't win. I mean, I would hope they would do this anyway, because I want to see it more than anything else in sports, maybe in life. But I hope they win the Super Bowl just to shut these motherfucking assholes up.